And recently, Hilary sat down with the author of a book entitled To All the Boys I've Loved Before. Let's watch this. Jenny Han specializes in writing novels for kids and teens, and she joins us in the studio this morning to discuss her books. Among them is To All the Boys I've Loved Before. Good morning to you, Jenny.
Good morning.
Thanks for being here, and I am so glad to finally meet you. We were tweeting just a few days ago about how your book got me into tears.
I'm so honored that you cried.
I didn't expect it. Okay, I want to dig into the latest one, but before that, let's talk about your trilogy, the summer series,
Yes,
is it called?
yes.
What's the running theme for that one?
The running theme is about, it's very much coming of age, and it's about, I guess, first love and loss,
Sure.
and a girl sort of coming into sort of bloom. I think that was my inspiration for the book, was a girl in bloom who's sort of stepping into young womanhood.
And these are things that are monumental to young girls, especially tweens, the 12-year-olds going to their early teens. How do you, is this a lot of it from personal experience? Like, how do you draw, because reading your books, it's like, wow, you've been through it. I mean, you've got to have been through that, right, to write something so effective.
Yeah. I think for me, I use a lot of my own past experiences and like emotions. It's not always directly from my real life, but I think the emotions are, and I try to sort of funnel that into the story so it feels authentic.
Right. Okay, so let's talk about the book that I totally did not expect it to end the way it did. I don't want to spoil it for our viewers, so you guys need to grab a copy of this book. To All the Boys I Loved Before. I read the title and I'm like, okay, hitting close to home already. It has such an unexpected twist towards the end. I didn't expect it to be so moving, like to be a 30-something-year-old like me and read something like this. I would think, oh, it's really YA. It's really young adult and very like young teeny bopper into like love and romance. But then the issues in this book are so real, the emotions, the events that take place. Like, how do you plan twists like that?
Well, I kind of just go with the flow. I never actually plan anything out or outline. I sit down and I write whatever I feel inspired to write.
Right.
And I kind of let the characters and the story lead me where they want to go.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to spoil it for everyone, but just I'll have you describe it.
Okay.
Can you describe the story behind To All the Boys I've Loved Before?
To All the Boys I've Loved Before is about a girl named Laura Jean who writes love letters to boys when she's trying to get over them. And they're really for her eyes only. They're for her to sort of exercise them from her heart in a way.
Process it and like get rid of it.
Exactly, and to be over it. Because they're usually sort of crushes, people she loves from afar, and they're just for her. It's almost like a diary, but all the letters end up getting sent out.
Which is a nightmare.
A nightmare.
When I read that part, I was like, oh no, who would do this? And what would I do if I was in that situation? So Lara Jean, she's actually Korean American, right?
That's right.
Is this something that you identify with, but you're Korean, but you were raised in America.
I'm Korean American.
You're Korean American.
She is half Korean and half white.
American,
yes.
okay.
And so it was. I think I'm looking at a lot of my friends who are married and having kids and
biracial families, biracial friends.
Yes, and seeing a lot of that and feeling like I would love to see stories about those kids as well. Growing up in Virginia, there just weren't a lot of Asian people in my town.
That's true. Yeah, Virginia. There are a lot of Filipinos there as well. So is the whole biracial thing a theme throughout your books? Because I know one of your books has a Caucasian girl as the heroine.
Yes. I wouldn't say it's like a theme per se. I think that for To All the Boys, it's really every girl kind of story. It's about her finding herself in love and sisterhood and family and friendship. And I think that her ethnicity sort of comes secondary. It's a part of who she is, but it's not her whole struggle or her whole story. It's not all that she is. And I really wanted a story that Asian Americans can relate to, but then also anybody.
Yeah, and this is true. And reading the book, it's amazing to me how you navigate through these emotions. You navigate the reader through these emotions with such ease.
Oh, thank you.
Really, you're like, it's like you're such a pro at it. You guide us through this, and then bam, you slam into a heartbreak, and then like you ease us into that, and it's like next thing you know, it's the end of the book, and I did not want it to end. I wanted to know what happens to the characters.
Well, there is a part two. Actually, I'm working on the sequel now.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about the process that you go into when you're writing these books, especially the ones with sequels or series.
Well, in both cases, for The Summer I Turned Pretty and also for To All the Boys I've Loved Before, I didn't plan them out to be more than one. They were supposed to be just a
one,
standalone.
okay.
Yeah, and then I started writing the story, especially with The Summer I Turned Pretty. I wanted to do a bunch of summers in one girl's life.
Okay.
And I got going and I realized I could never contain all of that in just one book. I really needed more space to tell her story.
And this is why it had to be a trilogy.
Yeah, I felt like that was what, needed to happen. So I asked my editor if it was okay for me to do 3. And she was like, that's fine. She was happy with it.
You're a New York Times
Yes.
bestselling
She was like, give us
author,
more.
So, yeah, give us more of that. Now, aside from To All the Boys I've Loved Before, you also wrote a New York Times bestselling trilogy, which is what we talked about earlier. Now, was your target really just these young girls, or did you think that you would also be reaching grown-ups like me?
Well, I think I just write the story and I try to write a truthful story, and hopefully people connect with that and it resonates with them. And, with young adult literature, about half the audience is adult.
Sure.
So, it's more than just teens reading it. I think about teens first, just in my own head.
Deep inside, are you a 16-year-old always in love?
No, I don't. I don't think so. I think a lot of YA authors feel that way. I think I just still feel very close to that age, but I don't feel like I'm still 16.
Right. But I certainly sense a youthful spirit within you, which is what keeps your writing so fresh.
Thanks so much.
So let's talk about this follow-up to All the Boys I've Loved Before. What can we expect from this one?
Okay, so yeah, it's called P.S. I Still Love You, and it starts back up almost immediately after the first book.
So it just picks right up.
Yes.
I need to get this book. Okay.
I'm still writing
I
it.
am not. Okay, Jenny, you have left me hanging. I'm so unhinged. I need to know what happened. So okay, go on.
I'm still figuring it out myself. I just knew that the story wasn't quite over yet.
It couldn't be.
Yeah. And I feel like one arc is sort of over, but there's another arc.
Yeah.
And I wanted to continue on with Laura Jean's story.
I'll continue stalking you on Twitter, waiting for updates. And for people who do want to follow you on Twitter, your Twitter handle is?
At Jenny Han. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, there you go. You can follow her on Twitter, and hopefully you get to catch her live and have her sign your book.
Please
Jenny,
do.
thank you so much
Thank
for
you so
coming
much.
this morning. It was such a lovely time
you.
chatting with you. There you go. That was Jenny Han, author of To All the Boys I've Loved Before.